Shiori lowered her voice as if she was revealing a closely guarded secret. It's not just about flirting, Lisa. If you want to be attractive to men, you've got to figure out what he finds attractive and become that. Her words stung, and I could feel myself recoiling and instantly rebelling against her advice. Was she suggesting I had to transform myself into someone else or work hard to get a man? Seemingly aware of my mental resistance, Shiori continued, confiding, "There's nothing wrong with making adjustments to get what you want, as long as you are not fundamentally changing your values and morals. Let's be honest, though. Everyone judges a book initially by its cover. Why do you think I work out, go out all the time, and dress up? If you want a guy who has a polished cover and subsequently has a lot of options, you've got to do more." Deep down, I knew she made sense and was right. That night was the beginning of our many conversations in which she would make it plain how my outlook was flawed based on what I had been taught or not taught, and from observing the women in my family. The weeks and months following that exchange would be the most enlightening and exciting time of my university life. We became sisters. She, the wiser older sister, who would take me under her wing and teach me everything she knew about attracting, meeting, and dating the type of men I actually wanted. Sure, at times it felt like she was picking me apart, but I was open and eager to listen to every word and took it as constructive criticism. After all, the proof was in the pudding. She was a master at giving white men the green light, as she put it. There was no denying her strategies worked for her and the other Asian women she had poached her strategies from. Once I began to see them working on my own previously non-existent love life, I was fully on board. How could I not be? Instead of merely listening to her dating stories, I finally had my own to share. The problems went from not having any guy asking me out to having to decide which date I had to turn down or postpone. I lived with Shiori for 2 years before she got engaged to her successful, handsome, and adoring boyfriend. By then, I was a pro at meeting and dating the men I wanted, thanks to my apprenticeship of sorts with her and her Asian girlfriends. My social and dating life was full, and sure enough, I soon had a successful, handsome, and adoring beau of my own. Seeing my transformation piqued the interest of my black girlfriends who wanted to know the secret to my success. How was I able to effortlessly get dates with the cutest white guys when the men they were interested in only looked from afar and never approached, or acted friendly towards them but never tried to seal the deal? If only they knew the amount of effort that was required. Where was I meeting all these men? What did we talk about? How did I get them to continue asking me out instead of getting stuck in the first date rut? Their questions were all too familiar. I shared my knowledge about giving white men the green light and the work that was required to replicate my results. Not surprisingly, they worked like a charm for my girlfriends, and I realized more black women would do well to possess the information that all too many of us are not privy to or resistant of. After much prodding and suggestions from my friends to put everything I knew all down into one book, I am finally following their advice. That is what I am encouraging here. Feel free to keep what works and discard what doesn't, but Black and Asian women both have to overcome similar roadblocks to date interracially. However, one group is exceeding while the other is very far behind. It is quite clear there is something to be learned, as the statistics speak for themselves. When it comes to interracial dating, white men are embracing it, but with some races more than others. Research has shown white men date and marry Asian women far above any other minority or non-white women. According to 2012 data from NPR, 0.3% of white men were married to black women, while 2.1% of white men were married to Asian women. If you are a black woman interested in white men, why wouldn't you try to figure out what their winning formula is and emulate it as best as you can? I and a host of my black girlfriends can give testimony to the fact that these particular strategies employed by Asian women can be translated to black women and work just as well. Furthermore, research has shown that interracial marriages declined a little between whites and Asians from 30.5% in 2008 to 27.8% in 2010, while growing between whites and blacks from 15.5% to 17.1% in the same time period. The reason is due in part to a rising black middle class that has more interaction with other races. This fact should excite you because it means black women are viable options for white men and can compete with Asian women. That is, provided we have a few key things in order, things that have made Asian women desirable and irresistible to the men we've wanted but could only dream of nabbing all of these years. What exactly are those key things? Keep reading to find out.